The helicopter blades were already screaming above the hangar when the millionaire laughed, loud and careless, and said the words that would change everything: "Fly the heli and I'll make him heir." He tossed the keys in the air like a joke, like a dare, like the world had never told him no. What he didn't know, what no one there seemed to know, was that the black woman standing at the edge of the tarmac, hands tucked into a worn leather jacket, calm eyes tracking every movement, owned the entire operation beneath his feet. Before this story ends, that laugh will echo very differently. So stay with me till the end, and if stories that flip power, pride, and purpose move you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. You're going to want more moments like this. Her name was Aaliyah Monroe, though most people in the aviation world only knew the initials stitched on tail fins and contracts: AM Holdings. She had learned early that anonymity could be armor. Years ago, when she'd walked into rooms announcing herself as the owner, conversations changed. Voices dropped. Assumptions hardened. So she learned to listen first. To watch. To let people show her who they really were before she decided who she would be to them. That morning, the private airfield buzzed with a special kind of arrogance that money brings. Investors, lawyers, a few local politicians, everyone had come to witness Charles Whitmore's latest spectacle. Charles was old money loud, the kind that believed wealth was proof of wisdom. He owned resorts, racehorses, and people's attention. Today, he was announcing who would inherit his aviation division, a prize worth hundreds of millions. The problem was his son. Ethan Whitmore stood a little apart from the group, shoulders tight, eyes fixed on the helicopter as if it were judging him. He had trained for years, logged hours in simulators, read manuals late into the night, but Charles never saw effort, only results that impressed him. Ethan had grown up trying to earn a nod that never came. "Let's see if you've got what it takes," Charles boomed, clapping his hands. "A man who can't fly doesn't deserve to inherit." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Ethan swallowed. "Dad, the weather." "Excuses," Charles snapped. Then he saw Aaliyah. Or rather, he noticed her. His eyes skimmed her like she was part of the background. "You," he said, pointing. "What do you do here?" "I work," she replied evenly. He smirked. "Of course you do." He turned back to the crowd, voice rising. "Here's my offer. If my son can fly this heli, he gets the company. If he can't," he paused, enjoying the moment. "Well, maybe I'll give it to someone who can." His gaze flicked to Aaliyah again, amusement dancing in his eyes. "Fly the heli and I'll make him heir." There it was. The laugh. The assumption. The casual cruelty wrapped in entertainment. Aaliyah felt something stir, not anger, not yet, but a familiar resolve. She had earned every inch of her place in this world, often in silence. She looked at Ethan, really looked at him, and saw a young man drowning under expectations that were never meant to lift him. "I'll fly," she said. The crowd hushed, then erupted in murmurs. Charles blinked, surprised she'd spoken at all. "You," he scoffed. "This isn't a tour ride." "I know," Aaliyah said. "It's a test." Charles laughed again, waving his hand. "Fine. Entertain us." As she walked toward the helicopter, memories pressed in. Her father teaching her how engines spoke if you listened. Her mother working double shifts so Aaliyah could attend flight school. The instructors who doubted her, the investors who passed, the nights she slept in terminals chasing contracts. Every no had sharpened her yes. She climbed into the pilot's seat with practiced ease. The cockpit felt like home. She ran through the checks, methodical, unhurried. The blades spun faster, the machine responding to her touch like an old friend. Ethan watched, heart pounding. No one had ever stepped in like this for him. The helicopter lifted smoothly, slicing through the air. Aaliyah didn't show off. She flew clean, precise, confident. She demonstrated maneuvers that required trust in both skill and self. When she landed, it was so gentle the skids barely kissed the ground. Silence followed. Then applause, hesitant at first, then undeniable. Charles's smile faltered. "Impressive," he admitted, though his tone soured. "But this was about my son." Aaliyah stepped out, meeting his gaze. "Then let him fly," she said. "With guidance." Charles frowned. "I don't need." "You offered a test," she interrupted softly. "Not a spectacle." Ethan felt something crack open in his chest. "Hope, maybe." Reluctantly, Charles agreed. Ethan climbed in, hands shaking. Aaliyah stood beside him, calm presence steadying his nerves. She spoke quietly, instructing, encouraging. No judgment. No laughter. The helicopter rose. It wobbled, then steadied. Ethan's breath came easier. He remembered his training. He trusted it. He trusted himself. When he landed, it wasn't perfect, but it was real. The crowd erupted. Ethan climbed out, eyes shining. He looked at his father, waiting. Charles stood rigid, pride wrestling with something unfamiliar. He cleared his throat. You did, adequate. Aaliyah turned to him then, her voice carrying. You asked who could fly. You didn't ask who could lead. Charles bristled. And you would know. She reached into her jacket and handed him a folder. Contracts. Deeds. The truth. AM Holdings, she said. I own the helicopters. The hangars. The staff. Including this one. The airfield seemed to tilt. Charles flipped through the pages, color draining from his face. This is a joke. No, Aaliyah replied. This is business. Whispers surged. Phones came out. Ethan stared at her, stunned. I didn't come to humiliate you, Aaliyah continued. I came because your division is failing. Because your people are afraid to tell you the truth. And because your son deserves better than being turned into a punchline. Charles's laugh was gone. In its place was a man confronting the limits of his power. Aaliyah turned to Ethan. Airship isn't about inheritance, she said. It's about responsibility. She offered Charles a deal, partnership instead of dominance, mentorship instead of mockery. Conditions that included stepping back and letting Ethan learn without fear. The decision took days. The fallout, weeks. Pride doesn't surrender easily.